Here we go again, and welcome back to the final in the third sequel in Eddie Murphy films for me, and of course I'll talk about Beverly Hills Cop 3. And before I start, I'll show you something. This is also handmade Blu-ray cover. I purchased this a long time ago. Someone handmade me. So tell me what's wrong with this picture. I'll tell you what's wrong with this picture. First off, his haircut, he looks really old. He looks old. Like, his haircut, what the hell happened? With his haircut. He was completely terrible. So this movie was rated R, and this was a terrible sequel. And after this movie, when this movie came out, it was not just a bad sequel, but I think it was just, Eddie Murphy's career was over. Yes, some people liked Metro. I don't like that film very much. I did not like it. Not a fan of Metro, sorry. But every sequel that Eddie Murphy did was just terrible. He did Dr. Dolittle 2, it sucked. He did Nutty Professor 2, I think was Krampus or something, it sucked. He did Coming to America, I'm pretty sure it sucked because everyone shit on it. I'm not a fan of the first movie, so why the fuck should I even watch the sequel? Now, in my opinion, Beverly Hills Cop 2 just ended the franchise. This was not needed, it was rushed. And this movie came out the same year as Street Fighter, was written by the same writer. Steven A. D'Souza, who wrote for this movie a screenplay, he did the Street Fighter in this movie, and they both sucked. And honestly, I'll say this movie is actually much better than Street Fighter, but still not a bad movie. This movie is still a bad movie. And yes, people were actually accusing the second movie that is a repeat of the first movie. I disagree. This movie is actually the repeat of the first movie. I think that they actually missed the point, and I think they're wrong. They weren't correctly. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is a stand-up alone movie, and it's actually one of my favorite action movies of all time. I love the second movie more than the first one. But Beverly Hills Cop 3 is nothing compared to the first two movies. It's just really a bad movie. It's a bad sequel. It's like a plastic sequel. Like everything the first movie, the first two movies did was wrong. Everything. It came out of wrong time. I'm surprised Stephen John Saxon is in this movie, rest in peace, but he was in a New Nightmare. And how that happened, And this movie tries to be funny, it just isn't. So, okay, before I continue, what's the repeat of the first movie? First off, Axel Foley's friend is murdered, killed. They go and kill Inspector Todd in this movie, Gilbert R. Hill, rest in peace. They go and kill him off. So that we already had in the first movie. Axel Foley goes back on the Beverly Hills, just like in the first movie, tries to find the killer. So that's the first repeat I saw. Second repeat was when Axel Foley gets arrested. That was again the first movie, but this time he gets arrested on that parade on that parade with Billy Roseworth. He gets arrested, and that's two. The number 3 repeat when he calls Hector Elizondo. Yeah, that's him, Hector Elizondo. When he calls Hector Elizondo, when Hector's making fun of him, he says, "Don't fuck with me, not now." That's actually number 3 now. Yeah, the third repeat I saw. Remember that line in the first movie, in the locker room in the police station in Detroit when Inspector Todd says to Axel, "Don't fuck with me, Axel. Not now. Go home." Remember that line when Axel says, "Chief, I think he says, Chief, sir, Chief didn't eat your ass." Still somewhere, And remember that line when Inspector Todd says, "Don't fuck with me, Axel. Not now. Go home." Remember that line? In this movie, Eddie Murphy repeats the catchphrase from the first movie and says to Hector Elizondo, "Don't fuck with me now." The same line, the same catchphrase. So that's 3. And the number 4 that was actually repeat was when Hector when Axel Foley, by the finale of the parade, we see that stupid toy called Axel Fox, that stupid toy, all 3 of them, Hector Elizondo, Judge Reinhold, and Eddie Murphy, they actually all have that prestige for their hand because they're all wounded. But Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy did have that in the first movie. So I counted 4 mistakes they repeated the first movie. This is actually a copycat of the first movie, completely heavily borrows the elements from the first movie. Second, Harold Faltermeyer was completely replaced. The music song was terrible by Neil Rogers, some guy by Neil Rogers that I actually heard about it in Seinfeld, So Neil Rogers, fuck that song, Axel F. I hated that song, Axel F. I hated the song Wonderworld. I hated that song, Wonderworld song. I hated it. I hated that song. I hated Jerry Lewis song. I hated it. I hated the guy who do it the right way or right one. I hated that song on the end. I hate this movie. I hate Beverly Hills Cop 3. This movie is a god awful. I hated his haircut. I hated how he acted. Eddie Murphy's terrible performance, his worst performance. I mean, directed by John Landis, who directed Coming to America, and they did with this, And Axel Foley is dressed as an elephant, He's dressed as an elephant, as Okie Dokie elephant. So this is a joke, right? This is a joke. He goes in the amusement park, and instead, I think he'll be a wisecracking, just like he was in the first 2 movies. He had to buy the tickets. Why he didn't hustle them, just like he did in the first 2 movies? Why he didn't hustle the woman for the tickets when he couldn't go in it? And he was dressed as an elephant, Okie Dokie. It's just ridiculous. The fight scenes are also ridiculous. The movie was just terrible, It was just ridiculous. He goes, the stories in amusement park. Why was it in the amusement park? Wonderworld. I hated that song with that train. I was happy train. I hated that song. I don't care if this is rated there. This movie should be rated PG-13 because it's a family fucking film. I hate this gun he has. Oh, and Bronson Pinchot, the Surge is in this movie with this gun, Equalizer 2000. I hate this film. It's about counterfeit. Oh, it's about some milky paper. I hate this film. I hate Beverly Hills Cop 3. It doesn't look like Beverly Hills Cop 3. I love the first 2 movies. I love Beverly Hills Cop 2 to death. When people hated it, I love the movie. I love the second movie to death. By Tony Scott. I love the first one to death. Both of them are great. This movie is better than Beverly Hills Cop 3. Demolition Man. They should learn from Demolition Man. I don't know what the hell happened. Written by Steven E. D'Souza, who wrote Street Fighter. And Street Fighter is even worse than this garbage movie. I don't know what else to say. In the open scene, there's no title. Where's the title? Beverly Hills Cop 3. Where's some cool songs? All songs in this movie suck. Explain to me where are all cool songs? Where are all the cool songs? Tell me one great song in this movie. Axel F sucked. I hated that song by Neil Rogers. I hated it. The stunt doubles for Eddie Murphy once again ruined it. In the opening scene, we have like 2 fat mechanics dancing, and there's like that fucking song. I don't remember Diane Ross. I think it was Diane Ross or something. I hated that when they both dancing. I hated it. I hated it. In the mechanic shop, so they go like these guys and kill the mechanics, and one of them was like spraying himself. Is this a joke? I hated this movie. I remember Eddie Murphy and his team, they showed up and they're like in crossfire, and Inspector Todd gets killed once again. So Eddie Murphy steals the car, the same car that Jackie Chan was using it, steals the red Ferrari, goes after the bad guys. He hits one of the guys, and this guy who plays Alice the Wall, by the way, shitty villain in this movie, who plays Alice the Wall, I think was Timothy Carhart. What the hell? Eddie Murphy hits him right here, and the guy is like, "Help me!" And Alice the Wall kicks him out. We already and Eddie Murphy goes and hits the guy. We already saw that scene in RoboCop. It was in RoboCop. It looked like a fucking sci-fi film. It was that scene in RoboCop. Remember when Peter Weller is chasing, with Nancy Allen, they're actually chasing those guys who are having shotguns, Remember that scene when Peter Weller shoots and hits one of the guys in the leg, and remember when Clarence Boddicker says, "Can you fly, Bobby?" and throws him right in the windshield on the police car. That scene is similar to this scene in which Alice the Walls kicks the guy out, gets shot by Eddie Murphy. The guy is like a coward, says, "Help me, man." We already had that the line was already in RoboCop by the finale. When that guy gets crashed with his van in that nuclear waste, he keeps saying to Leon, "Help me, man." They completely tried to do RoboCop film. So Alice the Wall kicks him out and falls down, and Eddie Murphy hits him. That already was in RoboCop. The story is bad, awful. It's just terrible, bad acting performance. The story is about counterfeit and about murder. So now Axel Foley is in this funeral, and they trace to Beverly Hills. So Eddie Murphy goes back now to Beverly Hills because this guy, Alice the Wall, killed his friend. He went and killed his friend. Inspector Todd, he killed his friend. We already had that in the first movie, when his friend was killed. Michael Tandino was killed, and Axel went to Beverly Hills to find the connection. This movie, he's hands down the killer, just like in the first movie. So where's John Ashton? No John Ashton this movie. No Ronnie Cox in this movie. Not even those two guys from the first movie. Nobody came out. No Alice Adair from the second movie as Jan Bogomil. No Ronnie Cox in this movie. Where is Ronnie Cox in this movie? No John Ashton in this movie. He's only mentioned that he's in Phoenix, retired. Where's John Ashton? What happened to John Taggart? Where's John Ashton in this movie? I'm surprised that even Judge Reinhold decided I will came back. I'm glad he came back. This movie is just John Ashton is missing, Ronnie Cox is missing, even Alice Adair is missing. Great music song like for Harold Faltermeyer's music, like in the second movie. I miss that music. Where's that great music? Neil Rogers' music sucked. Soundtrack sucked. Wonderworld sucked song. I hated the train song. I hated Do It the Right Way. I hated song. The John Landis sucked by directing. I hate this movie. I hate it. And yeah, John Landis directed Trading Places. No wonder that movie is so popular now, or Coming to America, And you know what's funny? That Eddie Murphy hated Bear Hills Cop 2, and he said that this movie is better than 2, then he changed his mind, which I don't know what the fuck is with that, Eddie Murphy. But your movie sucked. And yeah, Eddie Murphy, he goes, he goes to Wonderland, and this cashier doesn't let him in, and instead vice cracking, and just like he did in the second movie when he whistled out inside, he did not do that. Eddie Murphy did not do that. You know, the heat is on. What's on? The hard on? There's a lot of fun to be had. Fuck this movie. You know, kiss my ass. Yeah, Eddie Murphy, kiss my ass. Beverly Hills 3 can kiss my ass. I call it Beverly Hills 3 can kiss my ass. This movie can kiss my ass. Kiss my ass, Eddie Murphy. You stupid fuck. He ruined the movie, you know. And yes, I bought, actually I rented both the films. I did rented both the films. Street Fighter and this movie, not the same time, but back in 1997 when I was 13 years old, I rented Street Fighter and I rented that movie, and I can honestly say that I was more disappointed and ashamed of Street Fighter than this movie. But this movie is the same level as Street Fighter. Why I mention? Because it was written by Steven E. D'Souza, who did for this movie. He did a screenplay for this movie. Die Hard, he did this movie, and he goes and fucking makes, you know, he fucking makes Beverly Hills Cop 3. Shitty lame sequel. Every sequel Murphy did after Beverly Hills Cop 2 sucked. No, I'm not meaning another 48 hours. I'm not meaning it's such another 48 hours. But he did this sequel sucked. Vampire Brooklyn sucked. He did then that movie. He did Dr. Dolittle 2 sucked. He did The Nutty Professor 2. It sucked. I hated Nutty Professor 2. He did Coming to America 2. It sucked. Every sequel Murphy did sucked. He needs to stop making sequels, Eddie Murphy. You know, people are saying that he stopped caring about his movies for a long time. Eddie Murphy needs to stop making sequels. You know. He wants to do Beverly Hills Cop 4 because people calling him Beverly Hills Cop. Why don't you do that, Eddie Murphy? Why don't you do like a sequel like Rambo 2008? I want to see a sequel, Beverly Hills Cop 4, that is actually better than part 2. I want to see that it's better than the first one. Just like was Rambo or Live Free or Die Hard, you know. In my opinion, death of a franchise. Beverly Hills Cop is dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's a dead franchise, you know. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is a dead franchise, you know. So yeah, so while he investigates in the amusement park, he goes, he gets attacked, he escapes, he goes to that ride, he like steals that couple, and yeah, the camera shows that woman's ass and that old guy. I hated it. So they fucked up. They actually go and fucked up this fucking ride. And Eddie Murphy goes, jumps like he thinks he's an action hero. He jumps and jumps, you know. And oh my god, I hated his legs get moving. I hated him in this movie. He says those two kids, which I don't think that the line will hold the three people. I think they will actually fall down, all three of them. You know, Eddie Murphy and those two kids, I think they will actually all three fall down. That's what I think. You know. It was just god awful. It was just terrible. So by the finale, this guy, you know, Timothy Cartwright is actually Alice DeWalt. He's a shitty villain, and this guy who plays Fulbright, he's like, oh hey, he's like, I'm FBI. Don't start. Don't mail in my investigation. I hate this film. And they were like in Wonderland, they were like counterfeiting movies. They're like counterfeiting money. If they would counterfeit, watch Black Rain. with Michael Douglas and Ridley Scott. Watch that movie. It's a pure badass film, you know. But this is like about counterfeit. What the fuck? I mean, there's nothing really good about this movie. Except that Axel Foley is dressed as an elephant, okie dokie. And I was like laughing my ass because he was a clown, because like those two kids, they're going to him and he like jumps and this kid says, hey, okie dokie, that's how we do. And this guy say, I'm okie dokie, not you. And that kid says, it's supposed to be nice to me, whatever I do. And he goes and punches him in the stomach. I was laughing my ass off. And then he was, oh, you little motherfucker, I'll kick your ass. And he doesn't do anything except pushes him in the water. And the other kid is laughing. That scene is embarrassing for Eddie Murphy. I mean, what was Eddie Murphy thinking? No. Oh my god. Oh my god, Eddie Murphy. Oh my god. Oh my god. In my opinion, Beverly Hills Cop 2 and oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, laugh. This was a plastic embarrassment. Oh my god, I saw bad movies, but this was a terrible sequel, you know. Superman 3 was much better sequel. That movie, Die Hard of Vengeance was better sequel, better third sequel. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum was much better sequel than this garbage, you know. Even Jurassic Park 3, in my opinion, was better than this movie. Oh my god. Beverly Hills Cop 3 sucks. I got nothing from it. It's forgettable. So now they go to the so now from the prison, Billy and Axel, they go to this parade or whatever. They meet Serge in this movie, Bronson Pinchot, and we see Equalizer 2000. We see the Equalizer 2000. Okay, he says, "Oh, Sly, buy 4 of them." So this is actually Equalizer 2000. So this is a weapon. A joke weapon that looks like a fucking radio. It was a fucking radio. This is a joke. They make a joke weapon. Shitty weapon, this movie. Terrible performance by Eddie Murphy. Shitty song like Wonderworld song or that song for the train or Do It the Right Way or Jerry Lewis song. Shitty soundtracks. Bad awful performance by Eddie Murphy. It wasn't even hilarious. Hated his haircut. He looked like an old grandfather in this movie. Terrible performance by Judge Reinhold. Judge Reinhold wasn't the problem. Eddie Murphy was the problem. The story was the problem. And what I was really pissed off was Teresa Randall from Bad Boys. You know, no, this is just terrible. That's just a terrible performance. Teresa Randall from Bad Boys. I hated it that Eddie Murphy got on the end. Eddie Murphy got a girlfriend on the end. I hated that. You know. No, it's just terrible. You know, it just story did not work. I mean, it was just terrible. I don't have. Except the opening scene, which is the only positive thing that I can say. The opening scene was the only positive. The car chase, that's the only positive I can say, you know. And I liked it when Judge Reinhold jumps and he did his own stuff. That's the only positive thing that I can say. And he goes and shoots that guy. But then they go and fucked up when I know that Billy shoots that guy. The guy's supposed to be dead, but how he was kicking and he goes and shoots Billy. That's kind of stupid in my opinion. But Judge Reinhold's performance, the only thing that he jumps that scene, and that was the only one alright. By the finale, he was like all bloody, he hardly walking, falls down. And I hated Hector Elizondo like laughing. Hector Elizondo was the worst of the movie. He was no John Ashton. Hector Elizondo was no John Ashton. I'm sorry, guys. He was also like, by the end, when they were like in this ice, when the guy falls down, that's a stunt double. The same stunt double he was in the first two movies. It just wasn't that good movie. I don't know what happened. It just doesn't feel like Beverly Hills Cop. It's just plastic film. It looks like a piece of crap because it is. Oh, he's dressed as an elephant. It's just terrible. Okie dokie. John Landis directed this movie. You do this, right, John Landis? You did this, I talked to the Pole Bears. I get the energy from there. Man, I fuck nuclear waste, So much I hate this film. I think that... this movie was better than the sequel, Demolition Man was my personal favorite action movie for all time, which I'll say is the king of the action sci-fi films. This movie was not even close. No, I think, in my opinion, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is the worst one. It's the worst one. I hate this film. I hate the songs. I hate all the soundtracks. All the songs I hate this movie. I hate Neil Rogers' song. Oh, Neil Rogers from Seinfeld. I hated his song Axel F. I hated the song. I missed the song from Harold Faltermeyer, music score team from Beverly Hills Cop 2. I missed that song. Why was not that soundtrack in it? I hate this movie. Beverly Hills Cop 3 sucks. It's a terrible movie. It sucks. It's a terrible movie. I know not everyone hates this movie. Some people liked it. Some people will say it's better than part 2. I don't know why was so good than the part 2, but to each own. I don't like this film. I'm not a fan of this film. I'm a fan of the first two Beverly Hills Cop films. I reviewed the second one yesterday, and I gave like 1 hour review because I love that movie so much I can talk about Beverly Hills Cop 2 for hours. It's actually my favorite Tony Scott film. It was kind of hard between The Last Boy Scout and Beverly Hills Cop 2. I think I replaced it because I grew up with that film as a kid. But this film 3 does not feel like Beverly Hills Cop. It doesn't feel like Axel Foley from the first two movies. Like he's like there's like 4 repeats like already counted. His friend's been killed. He goes into Beverly Hills. That was in the first movie. He goes he says he gets arrested. There's a stunt double, the fight scene, so he gets arrested. That is already in the first movie. He calls Hector Elizondo, says the similar catchphrase in the first movie by Inspector Todd. Don't fuck with me, Axel. Not now, go home. Don't fuck with me now, or was don't fuck with me right now. I think he said don't fuck with me right now. The same catchphrase. He gets. I think the number 4 was that he gets shot in the arm. He also gets shot in the leg, just like in RoboCop. That Peter Weir shots the guy in the leg. He gets shot in the leg, which is kind of ridiculous. But he shot Alice DeVos in this movie, and then we see by the finale all 3 men were in the prosthetic, just like was in the first movie when Eddie Murphy was wearing the same thing, and he also shoots Hector Elizondo while he shoots Fulbright. He shoots Hector Elizondo, hits him right here in the shoulder, and Hector Elizondo sits down and they're laughing. And Billy shows up, all bloody, and falls down. Ugh. The cast was terrible. The bad guys was terrible. I mean, everyone that worked in this movie was terrible. This movie cost $15 million. the first one cost $40 million. The second one was, I think, was $28 million. Yes, the second movie cost $28 million. This movie cost $50, was less successful. The first two movies were a huge hit. This wasn't a huge hit. This is a death of an area, death of a franchise. It's in par with RoboCop 3. In par with RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3 came out a year earlier, and that movie was terrible. But this was 994 and call him a good movie. I don't care if it's rated there. It's supposed to be PG-13 because it feels like PG-13, This is just a joke. It was just terrible movie. It was just bad, awful movie. It was like it was all plastic. It was all. Eddie Murphy looked like a plastic. I hated his haircut. I hated his performance. There's no laughable. What happened to Jenny Summers? She was not even mentioned in this movie. What happened to Lisa Elbacher? Jenny Summers. What happened to Jenny Summers? Where's Jenny Summers in this movie? Where's Jan Bogomil in this movie? Where's Andrew Bogomil? Where is John Ashton? Where is John Taggart? When I saw this movie, no John Ashton, no Ronnie Cox in this movie, I was very disappointed as a kid. No Alice Adair in this movie, no Lisa Elbacher in this movie, no mention them. What happened? Oh, Gilbert R. Hill comes back but gets killed so fast. In 5 minutes he gets killed. Rest in peace, Gilbert R. Hill. But I hated what they did to his character, Inspector Todd. What happened to Jeffrey? Where's Jeffrey? Where's Paul Reiser? What happened to Jeffrey? Where's Jeffrey in this movie? Why is not Eddie Murphy funny like, I'm not listening and I'm not listening to Jeffrey, but he keep talking and I love when Eddie Murphy was like laughing. What happened to that magic? It's like this movie is less funny. It's like embarrassing seeing Eddie Murphy in that elephant suit as okie dokie. It's embarrassing. It was embarrassing. A kid punches him in the stomach. I don't know what else was. What else was by this film? So they actually found this truck, and a team of SWAT guys go to the truck, and Billy says, go, and they go, and it's all empty. The truck is empty. So why is now truck empty? Which I don't get it. Why is now truck empty? I just don't get it. This movie. I don't get the love for this film. I don't get this love of the film. So, I forgot that city. So he drives I think he drives a red car. Once again, he goes to Beverly Hills, and he can't go across, because there's this rampage. He goes and talks to this machine, and there's a woman voice. Oh, hey, it's police department. And says, I want to see Billy Rossett, and he goes and clicks the French language. Oh my god. Beverly Hills Cop 3 was terrible. It was just awful. It just wasn't good as the first two. The first Beverly Hills Cop is a classic. The second movie, I'll say another classic. This movie is not a classic. It's just not for me, this movie. It's just not for me. I'm not saying that Eddie Murphy is a bad actor. He's a good actor. One of my favorite actors. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is my favorite movie he did. 48 Hours, Love to Death, my favorite movie. Beverly Hills Cop, the original. A lot of people love that film. It's my favorite, my third favorite. The Golden Child, love The Golden Child to death. I love The Golden Child. Another 48 Hours, love that film. Love Showtime, love I Spy. I will check out Tower Heist. I'm pretty sure it's a good movie. Tower Heist is a good movie. Have not seen Pluto Nash. I'm not interested in seeing that film. Don't care about Daycare. Metro, I think, is still an okay film. Not a fan of it. Have not seen a long time. It's kinda disappointed as a kid. Um, I'm probably the only one that likes The Nutty Professor, the only one that does not think it's a bad film. I have not seen it, but as a kid I liked it, The Nutty Professor, so I still like it. I like Dr. Dolittle, I'm probably the only one that likes Dr. Dolittle, but hate the sequels. Dr. Dolittle 2 was god awful forgettable. I don't remember what the fuck was in the sequel. I hated the sequel. The Nutty Professor 2. Nothing happened. Did nothing happen in the film. I hated it. I nothing got it with that film. You know. Coming to America, heard it got terrible rating, got terrible things, so I'm pretty sure it's a bad film. But yeah, but every sequel, exception another 48 hours that Eddie Murphy did, were terrible. He didn't even wrote a story for this film. Eddie Murphy didn't wrote a story for the film. I don't know what were they thinking. Why they decide to do a story in an amusement park for kids? Why the story? Why? I don't know what happened to that. Or did Eddie Murphy didn't care? He just didn't care or something? You know, just ended the franchise. I think they should have done. I think Beverly Hills Cop 2 ended the franchise. It's my favorite movie. I mean, I love the guy, love the soundtracks, you know. Shakedown by Bob Seger, love that song in the second movie. And people say the second sucks. This movie sucks. Beverly Hills Cop 3 sucks, you know. And people are saying that the sequel, they're saying the Beverly Hills Cop 2 sucks. I don't think so. I don't think they suck. I love Shakedown by Bob Seger. I love A Better Way by James Ingram. I think it was Pilgrim. But yeah, I love that A Better Way. I love that song. I love I think it was Cross to My Heart. I forgot that song with Kata Bill and Corey Hart. I love that song. Both the songs I like in the second movie. I like by George Michael's I Just Wanna Have Sex. I love that music too. I love that music too. The first movie, Stir It Up. I like for the first movie. The Heat Is On. I like that. The Heat Is On the Street by Glenn Frey. I like that song. I love Stir It Up by Patti LaBelle. You know. But not as much as I love A Better Way, you know. This movie, there's neither one song that I would like it. You know, there's neither one song that I would like it. Do it the right way. I hate that song. I hate Jerry Lewis song. I hated the Wonderworld song. I hated the song for the train. I'm happy. I hated the song. I hated it. I hated that song. I hated the Wonderworld song. I hated that guy dressed in a fox when Eddie Murphy was jumping to this side ride. I hated it. I hated it. I hate that fox who is like this. I hate this movie. What the fuck happened to this film? You know. Oh my god. This movie is bad from beginning to end. It's bad. What happened to Paul Reiser's character Jeffrey? Where's Jeffrey in this movie? What happened to Jan Bogomil? What happened to John Taggart? What happened to Andrew Bogomil? He's not even mentioned this film. So suddenly Billy Rose's commanding officer. I'm glad he's the only one that returns. He was the only one. What happened to John Taggart, Ronnie Cox, Alice Adair? What happened to Elisa Albacher from the first movie, Jenny Summers? Surprisingly, they decide to return Bronson Pinchot as Serge. Bronson Pinchot. He wanted to return in Beverly Hills Cop 2, but he couldn't because he was so busy and there was a schedule conflict because he was. They did not let him because he was doing the Perfect Strangers, you know. So yeah, he couldn't do it. But where's John Ashton, Ronnie Cox? They're missing. I miss them. I miss Jan Bogomil. Where's Jan Bogomil? What happened to Andrew Bogomil, Jan Bogomil? No explanation. Yeah, they said, oh, John Taggart is now in Phoenix. The movie is not the same without John Ashton. No John Ashton, no magic in this movie. I mean, why was John Ashton not in this movie? You know. You know, if I would be me, if I would want to do a Beverly Hills Cop 4, first off, I will do just like in Rambo 4. I will do more action, less comedy, and that means I will do just like Beverly Hills Cop 2, more action packed. And I will, if I were me, I will do that. Axel Foley is still a detective cop. No, he has no wife, no daughter. Fuck family. There's no family in the fourth one. That's how I will do. He's not a detective. He's now in parole. No, he's now in the uniform in the traffic because people hated his attitude, so they actually put him now to be in a uniform. It would be nice to see Axel Foley for once in the uniform. So in Beverly Hills, you know, there's actually a nephew from Billy Roseworth. That's how I would do. He's actually investigating he actually investigates the arsenal, you know, those arsenals, smuggling arsenals, and he suspects that his fellow cops are actually on the take, and they're actually the one that's actually selling weapons, and then also selling drugs, you know, and they get money, and they kill people, and he investigates, and he came close. But when he finds out that even maybe his partner and his friends are on take and they're against him, you know, he decides to call Axel Foley because he's actually from the next town in different precincts, you know, district, and he calls him for help because Billy Roseworth was telling him, you know, his uncle was telling him the adventures with Axel Foley. That's how I would do. And Axel Foley, he is wisecracking once again. He gets back to Beverly Hills and decides to help that kid. But before the kid can give him the evidence, he gets shot and killed, you know. And in order, you know, when he talks in the phone with Billy Roseworth, we don't see Judge Raincoat unless he decides to appear in cameo role. That's how I would do. Eddie tells him, Axel tells him, I'm gonna get that motherfucker. And and he starts to investigate, and now he's just like in the first movie. He goes in, he's been chased from town, you know, he's not thrown to the window, but he's still like a badass. And like when one of the cops grabs him, he goes and throws him out. I will do more action scenes. I will do formula following the formula to the first movie. You know, that's how I do. And I will do that. He will be just like the second movie. He will shoot I will make more interesting villain, more badass that you hate the villain. I will make more action packed than this movie. Then less action packed. More humor, more comedic, which is completely ruined this film. You know, it just wasn't that good movie either. But that's how I would do. I will fix this movie. I will do the fourth movie more action packed, and I will do that it would stick to the formula of the first movie. You know, how Rennie Harlin did Die Hard 2. I would hire Rennie Harlin to do the fourth movie as a director. I would hire Chad Stahelski to do the fourth movie. He's actually busy now filming John Wick chapter 4 and 5. But I would hire Chad Stahelski for Beverly Hills Cop 4. You know, I would actually hire John McTiernan, who did this movie for Beverly Hills Cop 4. And I would actually hire some good writer, you know, some good screenplay. Sylvester Stallone, I would hire him to help me to write the script. Eddie Murphy and Sylvester Stallone wrote a script for Beverly Hills Cop 4. Don't you think? Eddie Murphy could go and ask Stallone, please can we write a screenplay for Beverly Hills Cop 4? And let's hire Chad Stahelski. Let's hire John McTiernan. Let's hire Marco Brambilla. Let's hire John Woo. No, John Woo probably say no, but let's hire a good director. Rennie Harlin. John McTiernan. Chad Stahelski. They should hire those people. John Landis, I think that John Landis was neither the right choice for this movie. And I don't think he will be the right choice for the fourth movie. Please don't make the fourth movie John Landis, because you just fucked up the third movie. That's how I do. The problem with my problem with the third movie is, I should just mention that it's like repeat, but my problem is that Eddie Murphy didn't write the story. If he would wrote the story, this movie would be good. He wrote the story for another 48 hours. He wrote a story for Beverly Hills Cop 2, which it worked. This movie made $109 million, did not deserve it. But they spent $50 million to do so bad, awful movie. In an amusement park for kids. This is a kids movie, not an adult movie. It's a kids movie. I really don't have much to say about this third movie. I don't know, I have not seen so bad sequels, but every time Eddie Murphy is involved in the sequel, it's just getting worse. Dr. Dolittle 2, it was terrible. Coming to America 2, terrible. The Nutty Professor 2, terrible. I hated the Nutty Professor 2. Every sequel he did was terrible. Every sequel. Bowfinger, I forgot to mention, is also a good movie. Bowfinger is a good movie from Eddie Murphy that I liked it. Anyway, I'm out. Yeah, this is, by the way, RANT, Beverly Hills Cop 3. I wish this movie could be good. I really wish I could give it a pass, but I can't, I'm sorry, I can't. Anyway, that's my movie review and rant. Actually, it's just a rant on Beverly Hills Cop 3. Hope you like it, hope you enjoy it. I'll see you on the next videos, which I'm gonna continue do new reviews. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.